You ever see something you never thought you would see for real? Like I saw my first Quaker. Like a real Quaker. You ever see some shit you didn't know you'd ever see? You like, when you finally see, you're like, oh shit. Y'all real? I've only seen you on TV and oatmeal. This is crazy. And I walked up to him, I was like, Jebediah, we taking a photo. He had on the suspenders and the hat and everything. I was like, we are taking a photo. Don't think this is a game. We are taking a photo.
NeverStop Radio, Dash Radio. I got my guy Tone Bell. What's up?
What up?
What's good? I'm glad you came back.
Am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling.
No,
Let me back this up. All right. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm glad you came back to see us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Luckily, I don't live too far. Otherwise, that would have been a problem.
Straight up. So NeverStop. I wrote a book.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So the book pretty much is some principles of success that helped me get to where I am today, and I'm still climbing, still on my journey, still moving. And I love to feature individuals like yourself who worked hard through over the years to get where they are, and you're getting the recognition, and you're on the road traveling, and you're doing, and you're inspiring people. That's the biggest thing right there. Is, you inspire people with your work. So we want to get to know who Tone Bell is today, and kind of hear his story and where he started out.
Yeah.
So kind of just run me through that.
Man, how far are we going back? We going back like high school, like trying to figure out how to perform, or we going professional?
We're talking little Tone up to medium Tone to big Tone.
Man, you know what? I don't know. Like I remember I'm only child, right? So there was a I spent a lot of time like early on with my parents' friends who were like older, so it was like no other kids around. They didn't have kids yet, so it was like I just hung out with a bunch of 30-year-olds, 30 and 40-year-olds. And I was always doing like Fresh Prince and Martin impressions and like SNL impressions and stuff. And even then I didn't know like that's, know, what I was gonna do. But I think recently I discovered, I remember when I was 12, my mom was like, so what are you leaning towards? Like, what do you want to do? Like, how do we cultivate, what are you thinking about? My dad was trying to like, oh, do you want to go to the military? You want to be, he's an engineer. You want to be an engineer? And I was like, man, this shit boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This wasn't for me. And can I say shit? Can I?
You can say shit.
Okay, all right. And shit, fuck all that. You can say and then I remember being like 12, and she's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Man, I think I want to be on TV."
Yeah. And
she was like, "What do you mean, like a newscaster?"
Yeah.
Like, because Monica Kaufman was huge in Atlanta. I don't know if you remember Monica Kaufman. She was on Channel 2 News, Monica Kaufman. And I was like, I mean, we watched Monica Kaufman, but I was like, nah, I want to do what, like, Fresh Prince was big at the time. I was like, I want to do what Will Smith is doing.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, we don't know how to, all right, well, we can figure something out. And then I was getting in trouble in high school a lot and got put out of every elective except for drama.
Yeah, yeah.
And then kind of, went to college and then did some plays and stuff. And then SCAD was, Savannah College of Art and Design was right there. So it was a lot of like indie films were like student films being done. So like I was kind of like the black dude that would do, you need a black dude in your student film, that's me. Yeah. I'm doing that. Guy. And then, and man, kind of just, I mean, long story short, I kind of just went from doing some plays to like a play after school, then got back to Atlanta. But Atlanta wasn't what it is now. Mm-hmm. Like as far as like Black Hollywood, South. And I went back there and I did like a couple, I did like maybe 3 indie films that never came out. Yeah, yeah. One I met Godfrey on, the comedian Godfrey. And he and I were like, had supporting roles in this indie. And as I saw Godfrey like 2 weeks ago in New York, and he was like, we like just kind of reminisced about meeting. I think it was 05, 06, something like that. And as we were shooting this like very, very bad, very bad, very bad. I mean, it was bad. Because like at the time you're thinking, oh, I'm doing a movie. And you don't realize how trash this shit is. And I mean, we were shooting outside of like a Supreme Fish Delight in Decatur. And like 2 dudes ran up bloody and some other dude ran up chasing them. And we were like, oh man, somebody's about to die on set. And they shut down and we never saw anything from this. It was crazy. And then I kind of just, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this no more. Yeah. And I kind of just got out of it and went to a corporate job and then moved to San Francisco for a little bit. Yeah. Was traveling. Then I got back to Atlanta, had this like another corporate job, and that just led me. I moved to Miami. Then
what kind of job was it?
I worked at Anheuser-Busch.
Okay, what'd you do there?
So I started off in like special events. I started off at like being like a just like a promo rep, and then like turns out one of my frat brothers work was like kind of high up in the company. So he was like, man, give me a resume. Maybe I can get you in.
Yeah.
I didn't have any experience, no experience for this. But like also they didn't even, man, let me tell you something. They didn't even like really, I didn't really have to interview. Because on paper, at the time I was still going by like Tony, Tonee.
Yeah.
So people thought my name was Tone. And they thought I was a black woman. So they were like, hired. It was like, we get a black woman?
Yeah.
Check 2 boxes. And so I just got the job. Then they moved me to Miami, moved me to New Orleans. Then I eventually got to Dallas. And then I got a promotion or whatever. Got a couple promotions while I was in Dallas. But I got there and I was like, man, I want to perform again. But I ain't no like really films or TV shows popping in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do a play. I tried that when I got to Dallas, did a play. And then like, I'm tired at night. Can't do my job during the day. So I just decided, I was like, man, I love stand up.
Yeah.
And then if nothing else, I'll make some friends. I don't know nobody else in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then if I'm bad at it, at least I know I'm not supposed to be doing this shit. If I'm good at it, then at least I got a hobby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then kind of just, man, went from there. Like, and it just, And I don't know how detailed you want me to get right now, but like I did it, I'm going from 8 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. And I mean, like, I ain't gonna lie and say I was busting my ass at work. I mean, I was.
Yeah.
Once comedy gets a hold of you, like that's really all you think about. So it's like I'm doing my job, but at the same time I'm only doing it. I know this is not a career. I know this is just a job for now. And then I kind of made that transition. Like I kind of rose in Dallas comedy quick, and then going through a breakup. Actually, she just hit me like she just hit me like a week and a half ago. Why do you think we? She was like, I heard you thought I was crazy. I was like, you bring this up after 10 years ago? You bringing this up? I mean, I drove this motherfucker back to Florida. I drove her back to Florida from Dallas, right? I got the call. I was finally laid off. I was trying to get laid off for like 2 years, but affirmative action worked against me. Like, that was the only black dude in my department, so they couldn't let me go. I stopped working and everything.
So within the book, right, we talk about, a number of principles in, like doing what's necessary and, being prepared for all these things. So what are some of these principles that, speaking to some of the younger followers who, want to follow in your footsteps, what are some of the principles that it took you throughout those, years, that, got Tone to where he's at today? Like what took, those small steps?
Man, you got to set goals and then try to beat those goals, right? They have to be concrete. I think you have to write them down. Yeah. And you cannot, I can't stand when people, like, you hear one no and you're like, oh, they didn't like me. I didn't get it. And you're like, so what? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep shooting. You know what I mean? And like, and that's what, I don't know if it's this generation, but I just don't know if people try hard enough. Like, because that no that you get or that pushback that you get or the obstacle that gets in your way, if you're not willing to go around it or move that obstacle, like, then you don't want it bad enough. Definitely. I mean, I was having a conversation yesterday. People go like, oh man, and people always want to know, like, because they haven't heard of you. Like, dude didn't know who I was, but then of course, look me up right when I'm sitting. He's like, oh man, you've been doing shit. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, I've been doing comedy. It'll be 12 years in January, and it probably took me to like 2015 or 16 to break even.
Really hit, yeah.
Of like, not TV money, not movie money, not TV money, but like just making money doing comedy probably broke even 4 years ago. Like all the money I spent trying to do comedy. It's like, it ain't about the money. It's not about the money.
Talk about that. That's part of the sacrifice, right? Is you investing into yourself.
Like, do you love it? Like, I have more fun doing shows that I don't get paid for than the ones, because that's where the pressure comes in. If I'm not getting paid for it, I will do whatever I want. Like, that's my show. If you paying me for it, now I got a guideline to kind of stick by. You know what I mean? But it's like, I did this. People always ask me like how I got on. I want acting advice. And it's like, man, I didn't come through that. I didn't come through I became an actor, even though I was kind of doing it back in college. Like, there was this, comedy got me into acting, but also comedy was that thing that's like, I don't care how much I make doing it. Like, I enjoy it. Like, I'll do it for free. I'll pay to do it. I haven't paid to do it. But there's an NBC competition I did in 2008. And I heard about it. It was kind of like a diversity competition, but it was like a last comic standing. And now people ask me for my advice on like just other peers and everything who want to come through the same program. But they're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna do it this year because they didn't really fuck with me last year. I'm like, Muff, I did this shit 4 years in a row. Yeah. I'm waiting in line overnight. I'm sleepy, and now I got to do a set in front of NBC executives. Tired. I've been up all night. I've been waiting in line, doing all that, and I did it 4 years in a row. Like, also, if I got it year one, I wouldn't appreciate it.
Most definitely.
Like I got now. That's like I was trying to tell my little cousin, this is like 5 years ago, tried to tell him, I was like, look, man, you don't want to do the work. All you want the money.
You want the money.
And if I gave you $1 million right now, you be broke in 6 months.
2 days.
You be
fast.
$1 million is not. Everybody think, oh man, $1 million, I'd be set. You will be broke in 6 months because you don't know how money work either.
Exactly. So all those no's. What was the toughest no you heard? That really catapulted you. That really made you like had to dig down. Dig deep and really like say, I want this shit.
I'm petty, man.
Yeah.
And so like pettiness fuels me to prove you wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's just, I know it's passive aggressive but there was a comedy club that banned me. Mm-hmm. As soon as I got banned, and it was like, oh, you don't know that you're gonna be asking me to come back here.
Yeah.
Like you asked me to apologize, but I know I didn't do shit wrong, but now you're gonna want me to do something for you in the future. And all I gotta do is put myself in a position to make you want me. And it's happened. Mm-hmm. And I know that's petty to think about, but it's like, I know I'm not wrong, and you don't know I'm not wrong, but you've been listening to rumors, and now I got to make sure that we're on the same level, or I have to get above you so that you don't think you're better than me. Mm-hmm. And it's not about me thinking I'm better than you. It's about like knowing like, yo, man, we work together. Yeah. I'm a comedian. You own a comedy club.
Yeah.
And let's bridge this gap. Yeah. That's like, if you don't have us, you know what I mean? And so like those, man, there have been plenty of like auditions that I didn't get but I think that one is probably like a big one. There's some stuff that I hate falling in love with the idea of a project, and then you get so close, and then it gets it doesn't. But also, it makes you go. I don't, and it's hard to say this because like people always take it the wrong way. But like did I want the role? Yes, but also, I know the chances are very slim. Mm-hmm. But it's not always about the role. Sometimes like you just want sometimes when I don't it's something that big I could have booked about 2 months ago, and I got real close. I got real close, and I was like, I can taste it. I'm gonna be working on this shit next month. I can taste it, and I fell in love with the idea of doing it. And when I didn't get it, it wasn't about not getting it so much as like, what happened? Yeah, that's what I want to know. And like those are the tools. Like people don't want to go back and go, all right, let me. Is it my height? Is it my weight? Is it was it my performance? Did I not read this right? Did I not? So it's like if let me just gather those tools to like, okay, now I know for the next time to work on this more. And sometimes people don't want that.
We call it just using the mistakes as improvement tools.
You got it, man. You got it.
It's your improvement tools, man. I think that's one thing that we see the younger generation that they don't do is they'll make a mistake and something doesn't go right and they'll say, fuck it, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Good, And then people always ask you like, how'd you make it? Like, well, shit, it took me 10 years.
Yeah. Also, man, don't you want to have I love the fact that when I tell like I was on my first sitcom and I'm sleeping on an air mattress still. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I have 4 other roommates in a 2-bedroom. Yeah. I'm on NBC every Thursday. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows I got to pump my bed up at night. People don't. It's like that's not.
Yeah.
And real. Also, but it kept me humble. It kept me like working hard. Man, I'm gonna get me a mattress. I'm gonna say when I stack this money up, I'm about to get me the dopest mat. And then I bought the shittiest mattress. Before, like, you remember the mattresses that come in the bag?
Mm-hmm. You gotta rip the shit out,
and let it sit out for 3 or 4 days. So I bought before they like became good. I got one of them first ones. Yeah. That was trash, man. This mattress was trash. Even my dad said it was trash. He was like, "Man, what you gonna do with this foam mattress? Don't you need some help? That's why you got to get springs because the help." I was like, "Man, don't be gross right now."
Give her a chance.
We're already having problems. Hey, girl. Do you mind if I sit?
You don't mind.
Hey, girl. Hey. How well do you know her?
Well.
She may have been at the center of an HPV breakout.
HPV. Babe?
Yes?
I think we should get tested.
Excuse me?
Sex is not the most important thing.
Practical.
Thank you.
I love practical sex.
I'm very practical.
I just wish someone would marry you so I could quit worrying about you.
Is this Little Women? You only have one daughter to care for.
Comb your hair.
You're related, right?
No. Why would you say that?
Oh, you just seem familiar.
Oh, there's familiar and familial. Those are 2 different words, and I think you're confusing the meaning.
I don't think so.
All right, for the second half of the show, we want to definitely get into like some of your current projects, some of the current things that kind of keeps you motivated. Obviously, you have a long year on the road, left and right.
Yeah.
So talk to us about just staying motivated. Obviously, you're doing what you love, but you got to dig deeper than that sometimes. Because sometimes we get tired.
Yeah, you get burnt out.
You get burnt out.
Yeah. I mean, like I finished a movie in earlier this year. I guess it was like March, April is when I finished. So I was finishing a movie called Sylvie that should be out top of 2020.
Okay.
But with Tessa Thompson and Nnamdi and Eva Longoria, like that should be dope. Then the Issa Rae, Marseille Martin movie that came out, and now it's just dope because I always wanted something on the plane. Like I always see all my friends' movies when I'm on when I'm on a flight, and I was like, man, I want a movie on a plane.
Yeah.
And so now like Little's finally on the plane, so that's
Nice.
like people been like
bro.
kind of send me photos of that, so that's been dope.
Congrats.
And then, so right now I'm back on the road, man. I got a movie coming out September 13th called The Weekend with Sashir Zamata and DeWanda Wise, Alon Noel, Kim Whitley. And so that'll be in theaters and then on video on demand and everything.
What's your character in that?
Man, I play Bradford. Man, this is my first like kind of playing like not the nice dude.
Okay.
Like he's like, I mean, I identify with this character because he's kind of, he's not like, he's like, just a dude. It's a rom-com and it's kind of feels like remember like the first time you saw Love Jones, like it was like it was simple and it was sweet and it was like dramatic and like all these like moments, but it's like felt like real life and this kind of feels like that, like it's feels like a nice it's not campy, it's like a nice grounded romantic comedy, it's a little dramatic here and there, but yeah, so like but that character, man, like he's like that dude, cake and eat it too.
Okay.
He's kind of has that like, I want best of both worlds, but it's like, yo, you cannot have, just because you a charming dude, you just can't have whatever you want. So like that was interesting to play because I always play like the perfect guy, the guy who doesn't do anything wrong. But yeah, man, just right now back on the road, like I'm heading out in a couple of days, but I just got off. I was just in Dublin doing a festival.
Nice.
That was dope. I went to London for a little bit, DC. I mean, I just like been traveling, trying to figure out this new hour. I'm trying to, like in the next like 6-8 months, put out tape a new special.
How do those like international markets like receive,
It was dope, man. I got a lot of good compliments from like even the folks at the festival. They've been doing this festival for almost 20 years, and they told me they're like, man, you have one of the best receptions as an American comedian that we've ever seen. Like, but I'm a storyteller, man. So like when I get in town, like I'm watching everything, I'm meeting people, I'm talking to people. So I immediately have a take on Dublin, or anytime I get somewhere off the plane, I'm looking at everything.
Yeah.
And so instead of like going straight into my material in Dublin, I told stories about Dublin as a perspective of a young black male who didn't know it was going to be other black people in Dublin.
Yeah, but I say, tell us a story about Dublin.
Yeah, I mean, man, let me tell you something. There's a gang. This is how much the U.S. or America. This is how much we're thieves. There's a sport. You ever heard of hurling?
I'm not.
Hurling, right? It's one of the oldest. You've heard of it? It's like one of the oldest sports in the world. Okay? And it's basically 7 or 8 of our sports in one. But we separated this one sport and monetized the fuck out of it across the world.
Yeah.
But like it's baseball, it's lacrosse, it's soccer, it's football, it's cornhole, it's rugby, it's 50,000 people in an arena where the players don't get paid. I mean, you can pick the ball up, you can hit it, you can tackle people, you can kick a field goal. It's crazy, but it's like, but I ended up learning like about a sport I'd never heard of before, and then saw like, oh, we took this from hurling, we took that from her. Like it's like, and we give no credit to one of the oldest sports in the world. And we were sitting there like it was me, Langston Kerman, my boy Black, my boy AJ, and we're like the only 4 black dudes at this. 50,000 people. And people not even kind of watching the game. People looking at us like, man, how did they hear about that? It was like, that shit was wild. And then Langston, we all got like, we were sitting there for about 40 minutes, and then, because we didn't really know how the game worked, but it was like, let me take a second and learn something. So we started watching the game. We started talking to people around us because they're looking at us anyway, so we might as well talk to them. And then they explained the game, and then now we're excited because now we know how it works, right? And then at the end, it's like it's a 1-point game. It's like 20 seconds left, and then the team who never wins was like got an opportunity to like bring it the semifinals. And then we just stood up and like started cheering like it was crazy. And then Langston accidentally elbowed this little Irish kid in the face. But it was a complete accident, just like cheering. And this little boy was fine until he saw who did it. And it was like, man, that's how racism begins.
That's it.
Like, he thought black people were cool all this time, and then the first time he meets one, he gets elbowed in the face. He's fine. The dad was like, he needed this. It's fine. This is a good life lesson.
All right, well, talk to me like about some of your like mentors and people who have kind of, you know, inspired you and encouraged you along the way, whether it be family or, you know, somebody you saw on TV. You know, what's kind of that journey for Tone in terms of people who inspired you along the way?
Man, you know, there's a, and this is not a personal inspiration, but I think back in 2009, 2010, one of the biggest, and I tell people this all the time, but one of the biggest, I was always been a Will Smith fan. I mentioned it earlier, but like always been a Will Smith fan. And then I kind of just like broke this cycle of why can't I? And remember those clips that came out a while ago, like late 2000s, like Will's wisdom. Do you remember those at all?
Yeah.
Like Will Smith, like he's like just speaking so inspirational. And then The Alchemist, man. Just reading the book, The Alchemist, kind of really just put me in a different headspace about like taking the journey. Like you said earlier, like taking the journey of like how, because every step along the way you're gonna learn something. Yeah. So you can't just go straight to that treasure. You got to like, you know, pick up some skills along the way. And so that was like probably the most inspirational thing to me. Yeah. But I mean, even being a comic now, like I was booking the comedy shows at my college when I was in school. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've known comics who I've been fans of for 20 years already. Like I was booking Lil Duval. Yeah. In college, you know what I mean? I know him now, but I didn't know him then, but like he knew me as a dude who promoted some shows and could pay him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like just seeing people, my friends are probably more inspirational. Like we get a chance to talk now and just like, you know, what are you working on? And Will Packer's a big inspiration to me. Reggie Hudlin, Richie Keene, Aaron Kaplan. Just like people, Whitney Cummings, like gave me my first, you know, slide. Nice. The few times I sat down and talked to Sid the Entertainer, we'll chop it up. If you get the right ear on somebody, Kenya Barris, there's plenty of people who I've got a chance to like sit down and just talk to. Yeah. And then you just soak up. Russell Simmons, I've been in his office Russell told me, I was pitching him a show and he was like, I love it, let's do it. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, command the show. He goes, nigga, you already sold it. Yeah. Don't sell it twice. Now you can make me say no. So get the fuck out of my office. And that was it was such a like quick 30-second lesson, but it was like, hey man, I already said yes.
Leave it alone.
You going for the no?
Leave that shit alone.
You know what I mean? So like, that's, you know, it's yeah, man, just, you know, just kind of, I try to listen more than I talk. And when it's time for me to talk, I probably talk a lot, but you know, when there's people in the room, you got to sit down and just listen to them. Definitely.
Anybody you looking forward to working with, or anybody you want a shot to work with, and things like that?
Man, I want to work with everybody, man. Yeah. I've turned down some projects, not one that, just hearing rumors about. Because I don't need. If I ever won an Oscar or an Emmy or something one day, yeah, I would love it. But I'm like, you know, I really have a lot of fun at what I do, and so I've turned down projects where like I've heard the director wasn't cool, or like the lead in the cast wasn't cool, and I'm just like, you know what, because I like to have fun, you know, like even if it's a dramatic project, I still want to have fun while I'm doing it. Yeah. And so I'll back out of a lot of stuff, not a lot of stuff, but like, you know, just some things going like, man, this don't seem like it's going to be as much fun.
Most definitely.
As I want it to be. So like, you know, I don't need to do that, but of course I want to work with Matt Damon would be dope if I got your story, but also just working with my friends. Some people I came up with, like me and Lil Rel always talk about, man, we got to figure out something to do together. Yeah. Or me and Omar Dorsey, or Deion Cole, or you know, it's just a bunch of people who like I really would want to like tackle a project with. Definitely. And yeah, I think the next couple of years is coming, if not sooner.
Definitely. Okay. Well, man, I appreciate you coming, bro, and stopping through and telling your story and inspiring us and telling.
Man, get your dreams out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
get your dreams out.
If you had a couple seconds to kind of let some of the younger fans know, you know.
These fans right here?
Wherever the hell they at.
Wherever they at. Fans. You just want me to say something motivational, just inspirational?
Give them something that they can, you know, take with them on their journey.
You deserve nothing, okay? You deserve nothing. But if you work for it, then there's no reason why you shouldn't attain it. You know what I mean? There's nobody owes you anything. Like that's one big thing I loved about Chris Rock's Tambourine special. Like the way he said he talked to his daughters. Like nobody gives a fuck about you. Yeah, realize that the world doesn't. I'm your dad. I almost don't. So I'm maybe paraphrasing, but the world doesn't care about you, and treat the world sometimes like it doesn't care about you. And take that shit. If If you're gonna want to do it, don't half-ass nothing, man. If you're gonna be a bad person, be the best bad person. But if you're gonna be great, fucking be a good. I mean, like, earn that shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that way you have a story to tell. And like, you don't want that $1 million somebody handing you a bag from it because there's no story there. Like, if you get that money, if you eventually get that money, then at least you have like, oh man, I got this because of my hard work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just an important lesson, man. Like, you know, you want that narrative of how you obtain like your wealth, you know.
Most definitely.
So
Most definitely.
yeah, man, work hard. Don't be afraid for that no.
I like it. Never Stop Radio, Tone Bill, I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I think the craziest thing I do now, which I never thought I would do, I drink sparkling water. I never thought I would drink sparkling water. Because I used to hate it. I hate it. I kind of still hate it. Because I think it tastes like flat Sprite. Like, I think that's what Perrier stands for. I think Perrier stands for flat Sprite. I also don't know French, but I don't know. Perrier is like, and I drink all of them. Perrier, Pellegrino, La Croix. Some people say La Croix, some people say La Croix. If you say La Croix, get the fuck out of this room right now. You have no class.